Draw this cute bunny with me in Adobe Illustrator. I'm going to start off with a colour palette. I found this one with a Google image search and then I pasted it in. And then you can see me creating some squares in Illustrator so that I can build up my colour palette. And I'm going to show you how to save these in a folder so that you can access them really quickly when you're doing your drawing. Now I don't use all of these colours in my drawing, but it's nice to have a colour palette to play around with while you're doing your drawings. So now I've got my pastel colours, which are my main colours. I'm then going to find some shader colours too. So these are just some slightly darker versions of the original colour palette. Once you're happy with your colour palette, select your first one, your pastels, go over to the Fill tool, click the New folder, name your colour palette, so this one's called Pastel Colours, and you can see your colours appear there. You can do exactly the same with your shaders. Go to Fill, click on New folder, give it a name, and now those colours are ready in your palette whenever you need them. And now we can just delete those and we're ready to start our drawing. I'm going to start off by holding down here and finding the ellipse tool and drawing an ellipse to get us started. Obviously I don't want this dark purple colour, so I'm going to go over to the fill. Next is the direct selection tool. Click on the bottom point, and if you hold down S, then it will scale those points together. You can do that on the bottom section, then get the direct select tool back again, click the top one, hold down S again, and then scale that. Notice that both sides are doing the same thing, so that's when I hold down the S key. I can then get the direct select tool again and just play around with the edges till I'm happy. When I'm happy, I get the select tool and just check that I'm okay. I'm going to add a stroke and I'm going to use a dark purple shader and set it to 4 points. This is the basic body shape of my cute bunny character. I'm now going to have a go at doing the arms. I'm going to use the ellipse tool again. And notice that my fill and my stroke settings have stayed the same. I can use the direct select tool to find parts of the path and then drag those handles just to play around with the size and the shape. Just keep playing around with it until you're happy. It doesn't need to look like mine. When you're happy, place your first arm, and if you don't like the angle that it's facing and you're thinking you might want to flip it, then you can use the reflect tool and then just drag those edges around to rotate it slightly. Just keep playing around with the layout until you're happy. You can then arrange it and send it to back, and now the little arm is behind the body. Again, just play around with it until you're really happy with how it's looking. Then you can copy and you can paste it to get 2 of them for your second arm, and they can face in the same direction, or you can go to Object, Transform and Reflect and face it the other way. Keep adjusting until you're happy with the look. Take your time. And we do a similar thing with the legs. So an ellipse tool again, and then using that direct select tool to allow you to adjust with those handles. When you're happy, you can copy and paste. So this one I'm using Control C and Control V to copy and paste. And then I select them both. And I go to Arrange and I send it to back. So our character is starting to take shape. Now it's time to add some eyes. So we're going to get another ellipse tool holding down the Shift key this time. And I'm going to use my dark purple colour and no stroke. You're going to want to spend some time adjusting the size, the position, till you're happy. It can actually help to zoom in so that you can see it a little more clearly. So just click and hold to the right and it'll zoom in. And just keep using that selection tool to make it the size that you like. Now we can start adding those little highlights. So another ellipse tool. This time we're going to need a white colour. And then you can Control C, Control V to copy and paste. And then when you're happy with that, you can zoom back out. To select all of the shape, you can click and hold Shift to select all parts of the eye and group them together. And then you can Control C, Control V to paste it. And then place it roughly around there, but again just play around with it till you're happy with the position. The mouth is going to use the line tool, and for a line tool you just click and hold, and then you're going to want to add a stroke to it. I'm using my purple shader, using that same stroke width of 4 points. I'm going to add a curve this time to the end of the stroke. This tool allows me to stretch it so I can get a little smiley face. And now I'm going to find the ellipse tool to make, I guess, the cute tongue or the inside of the mouth. So another ellipse tool, and I can fill it with my pinky pastel colour this time. Play around with that direct select tool to make it more of a mouth shape. And then just play around with the position of it until I'm happy it looks like a cute mouth. We're now going to go for some rosy cheeks. So same tool again. This time I don't want a stroke on it, so I'm going to get rid of that. I'm going to use my direct selection tool. And then when I'm happy with that side, I can Control C, Control V to get two of them, and just drag around those corners to change the angle slightly. There we go. Now we have a really lovely trick for adding shadow and highlight to an object. So first of all, I'm going to make sure that my stroke is on the outside. So your stroke could be on the inside or the outside. I want it on the outside. And then I'm going to go to Edit, Copy, Edit, Paste in Place. And this one, I don't want a stroke on it, so I'm going to get rid of that. And then I'm going to get Edit, Copy, and Edit, Paste in Place. Now you'll notice that I've got two extra little body pieces, and I can make the one underneath a slightly different colour, adding some shade onto the image. And then we can use the shape builder tool so we can highlight those two new pieces that I pasted in. Just getting the right colour there. So making sure those two new pieces are selected together, holding down the shift, going to shape builder tool. And then if you hold down Alt when you click, parts that you don't need will disappear. And then you can just play around with the arrangement just to get that arm back in front. And then you pretty much repeat the same process again, but this time the highlight. So copy, paste in place, get rid of the stroke, and then edit copy, edit paste in place, and then just move those out the way slightly. The one behind it you're going to want to set to a very pale white, slightly off-white colour. And then select both of those new pieces, get that shade or that highlight how you want it, select both of them, go to the shape builder tool, hold down that Alt key, and then just remove the bits that you don't need. So now we've got some shadow and some highlight. Time to do the ears. So click and hold and use the rectangle tool. Draw them as tall or as short as you like. Choose a colour from your palette, and then you can drag those corners in. I'm going all the way, and then I'm going to add my 4-point stroke to this object as well. And then to make it look a little bit more like an ear, I'm going to use the line tool. And I'm going to draw a line, and remember how we added that curve to the stroke, just to make it look a bit cuter. When you're happy with your ears, you can highlight them together, group them, and then you can use Control-C, Control-V, and now you've got your two ears. And just spend some time playing around with how you want your ears to look. Remember, they do not have to look like mine. It takes some time to just get this right. Send them behind when you're happy, and just keep adjusting them. We've now got another Illustrator trick to draw a flower. Just going to draw one petal on that flower, just using the ellipse tool. I'm not going to use a stroke this time. I'm going to go for a pink flower. If I go to Object, then go down to Repeat and Radial, you can see that it makes a flower. And it's just the right size, so I don't need to adjust it. If I go to Object and then Expand, this is going to make it a shape, and then I can go to the Pathfinder tool to join it all together there. I'm going to do a similar process for the inside of the flower as well. After I've put the stroke on, remember, keep all the strokes the same, 4 points. So I want different colour on the inside, and I'm going to remove the stroke, Object, Repeat Radial, And then I can adjust the sliders to adjust how this looks. When I'm happy with it, put it into position, object, expand, and the Pathfinder tool to group it together. And then just going to Control-C, Control-V to copy paste and just have a white version on the inside as well. And there's our cute little bunny. Now you can just use your cute little bunny just like that if you want to. But you can also export it as an SVG. If you export your little bunny character as an SVG, you can open it in a web browser and view it like so. But also you can go to a really cool programming language which is completely free online called Scratch. And you can create animations and code with the cute little bunny that you've just made there. So I've just added it as a sprite. And then you can go into costumes and use their editor to adjust it however you need to. If you want to find my version, my bunny, then you can go and search on Scratch. So you can go into your own account if you've got one. You can search for Flip Computing, go to Studios, click on Trending and find my cute little bunny that I drew. Remix it and you've got a little bunny that you can animate and code in Scratch.